Every market has its issues. Good morning, everybody. Josh Ezel, Breakthrough Real Estate and Property Management. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Today we're talking about every market has its issues. Now, in a perfect world, there'll be plenty of homes for sale, plenty of buyers for sale. The values of homes will be low for the buyers, they'll be really high for the sellers. You know, everything will be going on, which obviously you can't have low prices for the buyers and high prices for the sellers, right? That just can't happen. If you have too much supply, that affects demand. If you have not enough supply, that also affects demand and pricing, right? All of these things are correlated. Now, if we really look back, okay, let's go back to like the 1980s. In the early 80s, in the 80s, you had crazy interest rates, okay? Can you imagine trying to sell a home in the 80s at a 16% interest rate? You know, owner carries were almost mandatory. Well, what if that owner needed that money to buy their new home? Issues, right? I mean, gosh, we're talking about 5-6% interest rates being terrible. Well, think about having to sell. So there were literally agents in the 80s selling 16% interest rates. You had to have a good spiel, right? Okay. So let's fast forward to like the mid 80s, mid to late 80s. Then you got into like the savings and loan crisis. And I mean, in the, what was it? I think it was 1987, you had a 1 month drop of like 12%, okay? I mean, in 1 month, that's a ridiculous drop, okay? Now, from there, you started leading into the late 90s, right? That's when the next recession happened. I think that was 1991 or so when it really started happening, like 91 through 97. So in those times, if you really look back, you would think they probably went up just a little bit. No, historically speaking, if you look at 91 to 97, prices actually steadily dropped. Okay, there was a 6-year period of just a steady, slow drop in home values. Okay, now going from the savings and loan crisis, you have all these people not trusting banks anymore, and you have crazy interest rates. So obviously that you could see why in the early 90s, people weren't so thrilled, right? So home values slowly dropped. Now, as an agent, how did they make it successful? How did you make a thriving, great real estate career? Well, guess what? Thousands and thousands of agents made it happen in the face of savings and loan debacles, steady lowering price drops. How do you, 3 years into that, can you imagine trying to get a home seller to sell their home? In general, you had to know what you were doing. You had to have a great spiel, okay? So in 1997, okay, by 1997, prices had literally fallen from 1989 in the peak, right before all the crap hit the fan. They had fallen 14% in 7-8 years, okay? Can you believe that? From 1989 to 1997, 14% drop in home values as a whole, okay? Talk about not a great time to sell potentially on the surface, but people did it, okay? Now, from 1997, you could fast forward to the the dot-com bubble. So you can see we're right around the turn of 1997, home values had fallen, so the market started to turn, right? So between 98, 2001, 2002, things really started to change. Now, I read this great article, which I'm going to put a link below. It's from John Wake, November 2nd, 2018. It was in Forbes magazine, so I'll put a link below so you can check out this article. He's got some great observations. In 1989, that was the quote-unquote peak of that period, right? So in 1990, prices fell 7% that year alone. Between 91 and 97, that's when they fell another 7%. Same thing with the fall of the market. If you fast forward to 2007, 8, and then prices continued to fall till, 2009, 10. But that's just when they start to come back around. It takes another 4, 5, 6-7 years for prices to come back to where they truly were. So just because the recession or whatever might change, you still have to ride it out for a few years for prices to get back to where they were, right? So let's say, as many people are predicting, and this is kind of why I brought it up today, many people are predicting something's going to happen in 2020 when it comes to a recession or something going on in the market, right? Well, let's say it does. Let's say they fall 7% next year. Well, we're going to have to deal with that. We're going to need to stay in business. What's going to be our plan? If the future is anything like the past, that means 2021, 22, 23, 24, 25, it could be potentially 2027 before the market's good again, potentially 2030 before values hit their peak again. That's a long time. The fact of the matter is, there's never a perfect market. There's always elections, wars, high interest rates, low demand, prices are terrible, whatever it might be. The election coming up next year, Jiminy Christmas, foreign markets, stock markets, there's always something. People have always managed to be successful in real estate. It can be you, as long as you know what you're doing. Be the source of knowledge. Truly help people. Stay ahead of the game. There's so much knowledge out today. It is a wonderful time to be an agent. Nobody knows what the future is. So be looking, be ready, and be the expert. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, please comment below. This was a really interesting find. This article is incredible. Please watch it again, or please read it again. It's John Wig. It was Forbes, November 2nd, 2018. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you tomorrow.